This is Carrigan and Company. Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift for the Boston lover on your list? My friends at College Hype can help. My City Gear, powered by College Hype, has a wide array of custom apparel for your favorite townie. Shop for short and long sleeve t-shirts, hoodies, and much more, all in a wide variety of designs. Plus, they have apparel that's specific to Boston, Charlestown, Dorchester, and Southie. Enter code KIM20 at mycitygear.com to get 20% off your entire order. That's promo code KIM20 for 20% off at mycitygear.com. Hi, everybody. This is Kim. Coming up on Carrigan and Company, it's all about the food today. This is Carrigan and Company.
Carrigan and Company is here for you. Yes, Carrigan and Company is here for you.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Carrigan and Company. It's great to have you with us today. Keeping me company today is somebody that I have a little history with, which is very interesting. We're going to share that with you in just a second. She is the co-host of Dining Playbook, which we all have watched for years. She's also the co-host of Meet Boston, which is a newer program. And she's also the co-author of a new book called The Taste of Boston. Of course, I'm talking about Jenny Johnson. And it's good to have Jenny Johnson with us today.
What a pleasure to be here with you,
You're also
Kim.
a three-time Emmy award-winning producer. Yes. I mean, you really have, you've been a busy woman. Got two babies.
Well, I was going to say, since I've known you, become busy. I love our history so much.
So our history is really interesting. Jenny is from Marblehead. I live in Swampscott. And years ago, when my oldest, who is now 28, was about maybe 5, right? 6.
Yes.
And Gracie was just a little one, maybe 2. Jenny would sit for my kids.
Yes.
She would babysit for us.
Oh my gosh. And it was before I even really knew that this was going to be my future. Right. And so, of course, I knew who you were, and I'd be in your home, and I loved your family. Your kids were so amazing. But it was around the time where I was looking for what I was going to do post-college, and I admired you in such a way and was so intrigued by your work. And I happened to apply for a job with Billy Costa. I remember at the time the interview went well, but I was like, I need something to seal the deal. So I was like, Kim, what do you think? Could you maybe put in a good word for me? And the rest is history.
And I was more than happy to do so. And the rest is history, which has been so terrific. Yeah, you've had quite a history with Billy Costa.
I always say Billy's kind of like the child I had before I had children. No, he's all of those relationships, like my work husband, my child, my best friend, my dad. All of those things kind of wrapped into one. We have been working together this year for 20 years.
Wow, kiddo.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great partnership, though. And it's evolved. It's been really interesting, hasn't it? Because when you first went to work with him, you weren't doing what you're doing now.
No, yeah. So I started as his associate producer. About a year later, I became his executive producer. And the then general manager of NECN, which was the station we were on at the time, said, you guys have this thing. Like, I see this chemistry. Let's try you on the other side of the camera. And so we did, and things evolved from there. And we left NECN after being there for 10 years, and we moved to Nesson. And we've been with Nesson we're going into our 12th season.
Wow.
So
that feels like that was just yesterday. That's hard to believe. Because it went from TV Diner to Dining
Playbook. Yeah,
Right.
and so the concept was the same. And the concept is really to sort of serve as the mouthpiece for the hospitality industry. This is such an incredible, vibrant industry within Boston and New England, and we really wanted to give voice to the chefs, the restaurateurs, the bartenders, everyone serving us in this area.
Well, and it's an important industry in this area because, it brings in lots of dollars because it's so strong here. I mean, this is a real foodie town.
Yeah, you'd be surprised maybe to know this. 10% of the workforce in the state of Massachusetts is in hospitality.
Really?
It's a big percentage. Yeah. It's a very hard industry to be in. We've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it again. I mean, it's people think of it as some kind of really fancy and fabulous thing to do. I mean, there are very small margins. It is a very long work day, and it requires a lot. And ultimately, you get into hospitality to serve your guests. And so Billy and I have had a really unique opportunity to meet these restaurateurs and these chefs and everyone that makes up the industry. And these people are not only the people that we cover on our television program, but they've become our friends.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure that's true. Yeah. What's your biggest surprise about the industry?
I think the lack of education from the patrons, that always really surprises me. And it's something that we have decided is something that we need to make a big pillar for almost all of our shows, is to sort of educate. During COVID, people say, why are there empty tables? Or people would say, why are we waiting this long? Or why are the food costs this high? And so it's really important for us to educate and explain why things are the way that they are and what goes in to putting this delicious meal that is placed in front of you, because a lot goes into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think people forget that this isn't just somebody in the back who whipped this up and then suddenly it appeared in front of them. Yeah, COVID was I thought about you many times because COVID was a tough time, obviously. That was the industry that was hit the hardest by far.
Yeah.
But you guys, that's your industry. So it affected you guys too.
Yeah, there was a ripple effect for us all. We all remember where we were and what changes took place. And I think why we were very lucky is because we were able to continue our programming because we had support from folks that were outside of the hospitality industry. And so what we were able to do was actually put on television shows with chefs in their own kitchens. So we Zoomed for a bunch of months to be able to sort of have them help us make dishes for, people were at home and all of a sudden had to cook for night after night after night. And so that is something that we all feel like we went through together and were able to sort of come out from, stronger and with more knowledge of how to sort of move forward.
So you've sort of progressed. You started a new relationship, the two of you did, with Meet Boston about a little less than a year ago, right? And talk about that. Because that was essentially the tourism department for Boston, and then they changed their name.
Exactly. It was the Greater Boston Visitor and Convention Bureau,
Rolled
which
right off your
was
tongue.
a mouthful.
Yeah.
They changed their name to Meet Boston, and they're the arm that really is responsible for bringing tourism into the city and into the region, and from a national perspective and an international perspective. And so what they were looking to do was really create content to be able to share with tourists who are coming from all different walks of life, right? Your girls' trip post-college, your couples getaway, your family trip. And the way that you do Boston is different than the way I do Boston. It's different than the way that he does Boston or she does Boston. And so I was able to come up with this concept, of course, with Billy and my team, that was going to be able to bring in the different perspectives of this city that we love so much. And so we launched the program Meet Boston a little over a year ago, and we work with influencers. So we kind of brought those, that word that we all love or hate or whatever we think about it, but we brought in our influencers to be able to help share the story of Boston. And so it's really nice. We were able to really pick different hubsters, we call them, from different areas to be able to show what they do when they come to Boston. And it's been a nice vehicle and so much fun. Billy and I always knew we had another show in us. And so when this opportunity came, it was really fun to create.
That's terrific. Yeah. Yeah, I love that concept too, because you're right. People do see Boston and do different things in Boston. They have different likes and dislikes and interests. And so it's a great way to show off the city. It really is. Then you decided, wow, I think we don't have enough going on, so I think we'll write a book. So let's take a peek at this first. Absolutely gorgeous book.
Thank you.
I have to tell you. It's a taste of Boston. For those of you who are listening to us, there's a fabulous photo of Billy and Jenny on the front. And Taste of Boston, it's a great cookbook, but I think it's also probably a beautiful coffee table book.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of both, right?
I think what we wanted substance in here, and we wanted to be able to sort of convey the stories of the chefs. So there's 60 chefs, 60 beautiful photos of these chefs, 60 recipes, but then also 60 stories. So what we did was, instead of kind of giving you the Wikipedia page of all of their accolades, is we told the stories from our perspectives. We happen to know them very personally, and so we've shared the experiences of getting married, having children, changing restaurants, changing careers, leaving certain partnerships and starting new ones, all the philanthropy that these restaurants do. Right. So that's a big part of this too. And it reads like a love story to the city, which was really our goal, is to be able to capture this moment in time in hospitality, and it's been fun. Yeah,
that's the interesting part of it. I mean, hospitality is ever changing. Yeah. You are really capturing a moment in time, if you will. Yeah. But they're stories that'll last forever because I think they're relevant to obviously the industry. Other recipes?
Yeah, the recipes are so good. Yeah, 60 recipes. I mean, and the recipes are broken up into breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert. Okay. So, you can enjoy making them yourself. It's also an opportunity to figure out what restaurants you want to go visit too. I've made a few of these. My kids have helped me with a few of them. They're very approachable. There are some that are more nuancy. Like one recipe calls for a rack of ribs. And I remember saying to the chef, it's Woods Hill Pier 4, it was actually the chef Charlie, I said, that's going to be hard for some people to get. And he said, my goal is is that people reading this are going to make a relationship with their butcher. And so much of this goes back to kind of those stories of how do we feel more connected to the local community? And that's something that I think really came out here too, which was nice.
It's great. Yeah. It's great. This is a great gift, by the way, for people for the holidays.
Yes.
How do people get hold of the book?
Well, easiest way is in Amazon. You can just go to A Taste of Boston cookbook, and then it'll pop right up, and you'll see that mug of Billy and I holding a beautiful New England clam bake. Or you can go to meetboston.com/cookbook where you can read a little bit more about the book and order it.
Because the book is also partnered with Meet Boston, which is also another really,
so you'll
really
see
smart
in the
thing.
tourism offices too, all throughout the city and local bookstores too. But so any of those are options.
That is such a great idea.
Yeah.
What's your favorite day in Boston?
Well, am I with my kids or with my not? That's the question. So to me, the heart of the city is, because I lived there for about 11 years, is the Back Bay. So it always involves a walk on the Esplanade or a walk in the Boston Common or the Boston Garden, and some part of that outdoor feel that really kind of separates you from the city, but you're so right there at the same time. So many restaurants, I could say, it's hard for me to sort of name one, but if I'm sticking in the Back Bay, La Padrona is a new restaurant that just opened. Jody Adams, who has been a tried and true and kind of one of the grandmothers of the culinary scene here in Boston for decades. She just opened that with her partners, and that's also there in the Back Bay for a delicious dinner. We have Salty Girl. I don't know if you've been there on Newbury Street, but she and her son, Kathy Seidel, and her son Ben are actually in the book in desserts because he's a unbelievable baker, and he's transformed their dessert menu, and that's where I would go for a sweet treat.
There you go. Yeah. So a perfect day is in Back Bay, as far as you can
for
tell.
right now, but I could give you any other neighborhood too. I think that's the cool part about this book, Kim. There's 23 neighborhoods in Boston. All of those restaurants are represented. There's so many diverse recipes in here, so if you're looking to try new flavors, new ingredients you haven't cooked with before, or new restaurants you haven't enjoyed before, they're all in there.
Well, we're lucky enough that Jenny has actually brought one of the chefs who is in the book, and she's going to join us in just a second. But before we do that, Jenny, we do this thing here called the College Hype Fast 5. So it's 5 rapid-fire questions for you.
Scared.
In 30 seconds. Okay. College Hype, making a difference one T-shirt at a time. Be sure you visit them at collegehype.com. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm scared. I hate this stuff. Kim, be nice to me. Okay, go ahead.
Here we go. Favorite dish you make that your children love?
Oh, gosh. Okay, they love a veggie korma. It's like a coconut curry with a lot of vegetables on top of a big pile of rice.
You're teaching them to eat well. That's very good. What's something about Billy Costa that might surprise most people?
That he eats a lot. People think he eats nothing. He eats himself pretty well.
Do you host or do you go somewhere for Thanksgiving?
I always go to either my sister's or my mother's. I host the Jewish holidays. That's my holiday.
Is there something that you love Thanksgiving that you must have besides a turkey? Maybe?
Oh, yeah. Well, see, I love myself a sort of sweet potato casserole, something that gets a little bit sweet in there, but also gets you some nutrition.
Absolutely. What's your favorite boy band?
One Direction, my daughter would say, sadly, but yes.
We've got a whole lot of history. There you go, a little One Direction. And other than your phone, your wallet, your keys, what's something that is in your purse that you cannot leave home without?
I didn't even bring a purse, Kim. My family always tells me, why aren't you carrying a pocketbook? No answer.
I'm afraid that you're one of the. Are you one of those that sticks it in your phone on the back? Because don't do that. You'll leave it in the Uber.
It hides behind mine. You can't even see it. It hides behind mine. But yes, that's me. Oh, that was so fun.
Listen, College Hype always gives everybody a T-shirt. So thank you very, very much.
That was really, really fun. I love it.
You did a good job. You answered those questions very, very well.
I'm hot now.
All right, listen, you have brought along a chef.
Yes.
So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to meet the chef owner of Sarma in Somerville. You're not going to want to miss this. This is Carrigan and Company. Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift for the Boston lover on your list? My friends at College Hype can help. My City Gear, powered by College Hype, has a wide array of custom apparel for your favorite townie. Shop for short and long sleeve t-shirts, hoodies, and much more, all in a wide variety of designs. Plus, they have apparel that's specific to Boston, Charlestown, Dorchester, and Southie. Enter code KIM20 at mycitygear.com to get 20% off your entire order. That's promo code KIM20 for 20% off at mycitygear.com. This segment of Carrigan and Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back, everybody, to Carrigan and Company. So great to have you with us today, and so great keeping me company today. Jenny Johnson, of course, she is the co-host of Dining Playbook and Meet Boston, and of course the co-author now of the book A Taste of Boston. I mean, you got a list. I got to keep going here. My goodness gracious, she's a mom, and she's oh my goodness, so great to have you with us.
So awesome to be with you. It's incredible.
This is a lot of fun, and I am so happy that you were kind enough to bring one of the chefs that you guys are featuring in the book with you today.
Yes.
So tell us who is here joining us.
Cassie is one of my longtime friends in this business and someone that I admire so wholeheartedly. Her restaurant is Sarma, which, as you can imagine, in my line of work, the very first question anyone asks me is where do I go to eat? And so usually I ask them questions. Okay, well, who are you going with? When are you going with it? But always one of the restaurants that I say is Sarma. And I think not only is it because I love Cassie, not only is it because I love your partner, Anna, but also because when you go into this restaurant, there is a vibrancy, not only from the flavors that you're ingesting, but just from the atmosphere. It is such a beautiful scene, and it's such a memorable experience. So,
Cassie Piuma, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for coming in for that nice introduction. My goodness. I'm blushing.
Well, listen, I got to tell you, this fabulous restaurant, but in addition to that, people have recognized that because I know you're a 7-time James Beard nominee, and 2 of those were for Best Chef in the Northeast, right?
That's right.
Goodness gracious me, oh my. Congratulations to you and all the success.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a huge honor. And we have such an incredible team at Sarma, and so many people have been with us for so long that it's really an incredible collaborative effort amongst so many people. So it's nice to be recognized.
Cassie, I think that one of the things that I really admire is that you're a woman in this business. You're a chef owner, and you're a woman who has made this kind of mark, because that's not easy in a lot of other cities.
Sure.
This city, we have a lot of women
we do.
who have really been successful. So to stand out in that way, it's really impressive.
I think it was wonderful coming up as a young chef to have all these women to look towards and be inspired by, because if they hadn't been there, I don't know that I would have stopped necessarily, but I don't know which direction I would have looked in. And to have a strong path to kind of follow in that direction, I think was really important.
Why do you think women have been so strong in this marketplace?
That's a good question.
You know what I say?
Do you know?
Well, this is what I tend to say, because it is true. It is much stronger. I mean, even in doing this book, the number of women that are there made me feel so proud. I do often say Julia Childs had a little bit to do with it. I think.
Oh, I would never have thought about that, but that's true.
You are
and
so
sort of
right.
cultivating so many of the women that she had that were mentored by her.
Yes,
I think that really spawned kind of this really strong female thing here.
That is so funny that you say that.
Oh, I'm so happy you agree
No,
with
it is.
me.
I was just talking about it at the gym this morning with my trainer, and we were talking about how Julia Child used to shop at Savinore's.
Yes,
and that's like our personal meat purveyor at Sarma. And I think you're right. I think she created an atmosphere in the city and, just started something.
Oh, it's so great. I love it, too.
Yeah,
it's really
that's
terrific.
Such a good thought, Jenny.
Yeah.
I got to steal that for the next time someone asks me that
Please
question.
take it. Julia would be proud.
She would.
So, Sarma, tell everybody about it, if they've never been there. It's in Somerville.
It is in Somerville, yep. It's very accessible. It's just 5 minutes away from Cambridge and 5 minutes away from Boston. Feels like it's far away, but it's not. And it's a little neighborhood, and it's just our little corner of the world where we're doing Eastern Mediterranean-inspired flavors, but definitely with a twist. Yeah. So if you want to, there's plenty of wonderful places to get a proper falafel, but if you want something that's a little bit different, I think, and has maybe some unusual twists and turns and ingredients, Sarma would be your spot. But we do try really hard to, respect where these flavors come from and respect the people who have made them, many times over before us. And we do a lot of research and a lot of travel and just try to understand what the flavors are before we kind of break them up a little bit and change some of the, change the playbook and the rules a little bit. But we have fun with it. And I think at this point, the flavors come from Turkey, Morocco, Greece, Lebanon. They come from, the seafood shack down on the Cape when you go there on your summer vacation and you want to be inspired. So it's a little bit of everything, to be honest.
Yeah, those kinds of flavors, though, are really distinct and they're rich.
Yes.
Which is really terrific. I got to tell you brought us a plate.
Yes, I did.
And first off, it's rich in color, which I love on a plate. There's something really, It just draws me to it. But tell me what's on the plate. I want to know what's on
I
here.
agree with you. We kind of eat with our eyes, and
Yeah,
colors
you
are so
must,
important.
right.
And they
I'm gonna turn
indicate
this up a
so
little
much.
bit.
They indicate flavor and health and texture and so
Let me
many
see if I
things.
can turn it this way.
What we've got going on over there, sorry, I might
Now,
be
keeping in mind
clockwise,
that, I'm sorry about that. And keeping in mind that
Listen.
we have people who are just listening.
Listening, right, yeah.
So
Oh,
let's talk
paint a
about
picture.
this beautiful plate.
Okay. So the first item that you have there, that's a buffalo chickpea dip. So again, kind of it's a playful thing, sort of inspired by buffalo chicken dip, which
Yeah.
is like, a tailgate favorite, but wanted to make it vegetarian.
So but you can imagine that that's kind of got an orange color.
Yeah,
But it's
really
bright
creamy.
and creamy
it's made
looking.
with like feta cheese and
Absolutely.
hot peppers, and then it gets drizzled with a Frank's Red Hot tahini,
Wow, nothing wrong with that.
No.
deviled pecans and cranberries.
Okay, and next,
That's a
what's that gorgeous?
smoked trout termasalata, which is a traditional like fish roe dip, caviar. This one is made with cured and smoked trout that gets mixed with labneh, and it has some smoked trout roe on top, some
love
capers
labneh.
and pickles.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
And then finally,
And then the last thing is a red curry hummus. So we make a traditional sort of like Lebanese style hummus with really delicious tahini and olive oil and garlic, where we're putting a little bit of red curry paste in there, which gives it something different, and some coconut milk.
This is in the schmears section
That's
of the
right.
menu, which I just love saying because everyone should say that on a regular basis. Grab some schmear and have yourself a delicious meal. But they're all so flavorful.
Yeah. And
small plates, right?
all small, yep. Big
Okay.
flavor, small plates.
I mean, small in quotes. I wouldn't call
What's it-
them
what-
so
what-
small. They're
right.
good sized dishes, Cass.
I mean,
You're
I
right,
think,
you're
I think
right.
people
You are
feel
not
like
wrong.
that's a really fun thing though, because that's kind of a smaller plate to share,
Sharing,
right?
yes.
Well, I think also
like
what's
that.
important, you bring up a really good point about the size of the plates. And for me, what I love about Sarma is it's about community, and it's about bringing people to the table and inviting them to share. So like, I think sometimes like small plates are like, oh, I'm going to leave and I'm going to need to get a pizza. Not the case. Like, these are good sized portions that like, I think they provide a lot of value, and people can come and they can share and they can get in there and try lots of stuff, but feel like, satiated when they leave.
Fantastic. Cassie, talk to me about just the restaurant business as a whole. You guys really dealt with some hard times. I mean, Jenny, what she does, her whole community went under for a number, almost 2 full years
Yeah,
here.
no, it's very stressful.
So talk about the community and what it's like at this point.
It was a really challenging time for restaurants in general, and I think a lot of restaurants are still recovering to some extent. We were fortunate just in that we had a really strong community that kind of came around us, and we're in this great little neighborhood, and a lot of people live in the neighborhood, you know what I mean? So we were able to offer services, takeout services and things like that kind of kept us afloat, but really it was our community that just kind of rallied around us and supported us, which was so great. And I think moving forward, we're always, counting our blessings, just every day it's like, all right, we're still here, and let's never give up, and let's keep trying and being proactive and thinking forward, and knowing that something can happen at any time. So you got to appreciate the moments and just keep driving forward and helping others around you and supporting others around you.
Restaurant business is tough.
It is, yeah.
I was just chatting with a friend of mine who owns a restaurant in Swampscott, and he said on a night when the place was packed, but was sitting next to me, and he said, it's tough. It's a tough business. What do you think's the toughest part of it?
I think there's various factors, and different things are challenging for different people, but I'd say the schedule is what can be hard for a lot of folks, especially if you at some point in your career you wish to transition and have a family or something like that. Like it's, even if you don't choose that, you might want to, delve into a different path in life where your schedule changes. But for me, I have 2 small girls, and trying to keep up with them and be a morning person and be a night person and a middle of the day person and an all day person can be tricky. But I think you just try to stay present in every moment that you have. When you're with your family, you're present. When you're at your restaurant, you're present. When you're cooking, you're present. Whatever it is, just enjoy the moment.
Cassie's created such an infrastructure where the people who work for her, it is an extension of a family, which I think is so awesome to see because she has her home family, but then she has this work family, and the folks who work with her, you can just see how much it means to be in her presence and in their restaurant family.
Yes, that we have I can't say it enough. We have such a great team of people who step up and step in wherever is necessary and needed, and they've been with us for so long, and there's so much talent in this one little building, everywhere from our pastry department to our dish team to our front of the house service. Our managers are incredible. We're really fortunate.
Well, that speaks to your management because I'm afraid not all restaurants can say that, so that certainly speaks volumes about you. Why just one?
Well, I don't know if I could honestly ever recreate the vibe at Sarma. I think it's a very unique space, and I think it has only come together with this very specific group of people and it's just everything about it, the location, the food, and it takes a lot of time to really build these flavors and if you really care and put yourself into that everyday process, it takes a lot out of you. So I don't know that I could do it again, but what I do hope someday is I live in Winthrop. I'd love to open up a little place in my community where my kids are growing up.
Sure.
Something, maybe not quite something like Sarma as big, but something a little smaller that we could feel proud of in our own little tiny community.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. Maybe you don't need to recreate this. Maybe you could create something else, something new.
Correct.
Okay, so what is that?
When can we go? When can we get to eat it?
Because that's really close to me. So when is that opening up?
It's a perfect
If I'm
distance on
being
the way to the
honest,
city.
I'm on the lookout. I'm on the hunt right now. There's a lot of
awesome.
really wonderful little nooks in Winthrop, so I'm looking hard.
That's really great.
Yeah, I'd love a little cafe, bakery, something like that.
That is
we
so-
could do. That would, expose people to some of these flavors so they don't have to go all the way into the city necessarily to get them, which I agree. Living in the suburbs is amazing. And you have, I love the water and all that, but sometimes I yearn for the food of the city.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, Cassie, as somebody's listening and they're thinking, gosh, I'd really like to open a restaurant, but I don't know. What's words of advice? Do you have any words of advice for those out there who are sort of dreaming of it? Because you were a dreamer one day.
I certainly was, yes. And I think that, I think every business is hard, right? Every business has its challenges. Your businesses have their challenges, as does the restaurant industry. But I honestly, ever since I was in culinary school, all I ever said was just show up, give your best, fail, and then show up again the next day and do it over again. Because I think so many people, they get disheartened by the industry, or they get, stressed out by the schedule or the workload or the there's so many pieces of it that can get you down. But I think if you just take a deep breath and just keep moving forward, eventually, yes, people will move on around you, but you'll still be there. And I think there's a lot to be said for just showing up and not giving up. And that might be trite, but I really believe it. No. And I think it's what helped me was just that I'm a little bit of a stubborn Scorpio personality. So I don't like to give up very easily.
And how does it feel to be in the book? You're immortalized now.
Yes, the book. I'm so excited to talk about that. I am very honored. It is a beautiful collaboration, I think, of so many incredible chefs. And I love all the chefs that they selected in the book. I think they did such a wonderful job of really finding a vast array of what represents Boston. And Jenny is such a kind-hearted, enthusiastic supporter of the Boston restaurant community. Always has been. Yeah. From any event when she's there, she brings energy and she brings laughter and she makes it approachable and fun. And I feel like the book has that same kind of energy that it's just exciting. And it's great to learn about all these different pockets of cuisine around the city. So
absolutely.
I think it was wonderful. I was so honored to be a part of it.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations on the incredible success of the restaurant.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm going to be calling you so I can get in.
Yes. I look forward
That's
to
the
having
real
you
challenge,
in.
That
right?
is the real challenge.
That's it. I think
got the hookup.
Yeah, I think right, exactly. I was waiting for the hookup. I think I actually heard you say it's okay. You can get in if you come in during the week. It's those weekend days that
Well, if you come in early during the week, probably.
If you go to the bar at 5, is that?
Yeah, we used to say everyone would be I can't get in. I'm are you trying to come at Friday at 7? But now I suggest you come at 4:30 and hang outside. And you definitely can get a table, but there's some very committed amazing people who will stand outside in the rain and the snow, and they're on it.
I got to tell you, that is so.
Such a testament.
There's so very few owners and chefs who can say that. So
I am
congratulations
impressed by them,
to
though.
you.
I'm grateful. Like when we're prepping, we can see outside and see the line forming, and I'm like, thank you. Like I'm so grateful to people who care enough to do that. So,
That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Cassie, thank you. Continued success.
Thank you.
It's really
Thank you so
terrific.
much.
I'm going to try a few bites here in
I'm
just a
excited
second.
for you to try it
Yeah,
all.
absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to have you. All right, we've got one more guest, my friend.
right.
That's still coming your way. This is Carrigan and Company. The holiday season is just around the corner. Before all those family gatherings and holiday parties, you'll want to spruce up your home. Let me suggest that you start with updating your lighting. It can make all the difference when you're entertaining. The folks at Lucia Lighting Design in Lynn can help you achieve the perfect atmosphere, whether it's soft, welcoming lighting in the dining room or a workstation in the kitchen. Owner Lucy Dearborn and her team can make suggestions and guide you through the process. If you can imagine it, the experts at Lucia Lighting Design can make your dreams come true. Learn more at lucialighting.com. That's lucialighting.com.
If you like rum, you're going to love Rumson's Rum, New England's most award-winning rum brand. Rumson creates distinctive and savory flavor profiles by hand-selecting and marrying the finest barrel-aged Caribbean rums. The spirits are then blended and finished in the New England Rum House. Choose from Rumson's Gold, Spice, Grand Reserve, or Coffee Rum, which is smooth and sweet with a warm roasted coffee flavor, a hint of vanilla, and a decadent buttery finish. Find Rumson's at liquor stores or ask for it at your favorite restaurant. Learn more at rumsons.com. That's rumsons.com. Rumsons. Life lived, life enjoyed.
This segment of Carrigan and Company is brought to us by Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater. Go to nsmt.org now to get your tickets to the 35th anniversary production of A Christmas Carol, playing December 5th through the 22nd. Welcome back, everybody, to Carrigan and Company. I've been sampling, and so I'm trying to swallow and kind of keep myself together here, right?
It's a hard thing to do to eat while talking. Let me tell you. I say that's the greatest thing I've learned in this past 20 years.
I cannot thank you enough for bringing her because she is fantastic and the food is phenomenal. Folks, if you've never been to Sarma, start right now and maybe you can get a reservation in January. So
good luck.
You need to start right this very minute for sure. So we've been talking about food because obviously this is a big, big part of your life. And then, of course, we were lucky enough to have Cassie here. And these are some of the real positive things about food. But there's another side of food that we all need to think about. And that's that it is not abundant for everyone in our community. And we need to make sure that we take care of those who maybe are suffering from food insecurity. So joining us is someone who's dedicating her life to that, and I'm extremely impressed by that. Jessica Gordon is the executive director of Bread and Roses in Lawrence, and it is so good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. Jessica. Yeah. Tell us about Bread and Roses.
So Bread and Roses was founded in 1980 to fight food insecurity. And as you know, the landscape of food insecurity has changed so much over the past 40 years. But I think the foundation of what we're doing remains the same. We are a community-based organization, and we really try to modify our services based on the needs of our community. So they're constantly evolving and changing.
Tell us a little bit about the community that you serve.
So we serve all of the greater Merrimack Valley, and really, in reality, we'll serve anyone. We serve anyone that comes to our door, no questions asked. But that being said, we're a community kitchen, and we're based in the heart of North Lawrence, and we do primarily serve Lawrence residents. As you know, Lawrence is the #1 gateway city in the state of Massachusetts. We serve a lot of the undocumented migrants that come to the area. But a lot of the people that we serve don't qualify for SNAP benefits for various reasons. So we're kind of the last stop that's able to assist them in their journey.
Jessica, I saw recently a stat that 18% of families in Massachusetts at some point suffer from food insecurity. That is shocking to me, actually, because we're a state that's pretty wealthy. It's just very surprising. You talked about the fact that the face of this has changed some. Talk to us about how it's changed, how you see that.
Sure. So I started post-pandemic in 2021, and it was my job to reopen services in a way that was going to be safe for the community, but also provide them with whatever service it was that they needed. Prior to the pandemic, we were primarily a meals program. We told people that they could come in 5 nights a week and have dinner. You would have to eat dinner at Bread and Roses. So families and single individuals would come in and eat. Post-pandemic, we've really changed our model, and the first thing that we did was survey guests and ask them, what is it that you need from us? And what we got from a lot of the people that we served was, we want the option to either eat the food at Bread and Roses or bring the food home because we have families. It was post-pandemic. People didn't want to bring their children into such a small space. So we modified our services then, but over time, things have really changed. And now we're not just a dinner program. We're a huge food rescue program. Last year alone, we rescued 4 million pounds of food that would have otherwise ended up in landfills. And then we're able to distribute that food back to the community within 8 to 72 hours prior to its expiration.
Talk about food rescue a little bit, because I have an idea about it, but I think a lot of people listening may not really understand that food would all go to waste.
Yes, absolutely. So currently we have about 25 contracts with different places, hospitals, restaurants, grocery stores, you name it. And a lot of them prior to getting involved with food rescue, and it also benefits a lot of small businesses because it provides them a tax break as well. Food was just ending up in landfills, and it wasn't even expired food. If the grocery stores aren't able to turn around the food in time when it's like 1 to 2 days left, a lot of time it's thrown away. So we're able to rescue the food. We'll literally have a grocery store that will call us and tell us that they have 40 pallets of tomatoes. And we will find a way to pick up all of those tomatoes in several trips and distribute it to the community. And if it's not distributed directly through our doors, we'll provide it to agencies in the community that we know can distribute the food before it expires. We don't waste any food.
How many people do you serve?
About 50,000 families a year right now.
50,000 families
Yes.
a year. Wow.
And we only have 9 full-time staff.
So obviously fundraising and donations must be a big part of your business, and how, for folks who are listening and want to be able to get involved,
Sure.
what do you suggest?
Sure. So we don't take any federal or state funding. And we do that because it really gives us a lot of flexibility about how we're able to modify our services, and also that we're able to serve everyone that way. So all of our services are privately funded by the community. Half of our fiscal budget every year is in kind. It's just the food that's donated to us. We only purchase about 10% of it. And really all of our money just goes to keep the lights on and to pay our 9 full-time staff.
Wow. Jessica, talk about your experience, because I actually saw you being interviewed and talking about your lived experience, and it's why you're so passionate about this project.
Sure. So I was born in 1985. My mom, prior to having me, had an addiction. I grew up in, my father was, he had a history of domestic violence, and then my mother went through that, and I went through that as a child. I grew up with a family member that was an alcoholic as well. My mom actually went to Catholic Charities when she was pregnant with me to sort of process her trauma. And so I learned at a young age that she felt like the social worker at Catholic Charities had saved her life. And so I've kind of spent my life trying to repay that. Not always. I was a teen parent myself, and so I went through my own sort of trials and tribulations. It took me 10 years to graduate college. But I've always sort of been on this social justice road and to help others.
And you've done a good job of doing so, because you stepped back into this organization after the pandemic, when I know that they were in sort of dire straits.
It was a very difficult time. It was right before the Delta variant dropped. So we had to find a way to creatively serve people that also wouldn't put people in danger. During that time, statistics said that less than 20% of our demographic was actually getting the vaccine. So we had some safety concerns, and we needed to find a way to get the food out, but also to engage the community again. So we had a vaccination truck coming every week to Bread and Roses. We had medical care coming every Wednesday to Bread and Roses. But we also got a license from the city so that we could actually serve meals outside in our parking lot.
Wow.
The restaurant community talks a lot about sort of getting through COVID and now post-COVID, and how there are still a lot of challenges, despite many of us thinking it's kind of in the rearview mirror. Do you still feel like there are sort of repercussions from that, or does it feel like you're on a new chapter and in a good place?
Oh, there's lots of repercussions. I would say that the biggest one was pandemic SNAP benefits sort of ended very quietly. In February of 2022, they weren't supposed to end until May. And that's when we really did a complete upheaval of our services and started opening our emergency pantry to the entire community. Prior to that, you needed like a referral from an agency to come and get food from us. And now we have like an actual grocery store that we build every morning and take down every evening before dinner. And we serve about 100 families a day.
Isn't that something?
It's incredible.
What do you want people to know about those you serve?
I think that the most important things people can recognize about Bread and Roses is that we see nutritious food as a human right. Yes, we live in Massachusetts. Yes, Massachusetts is categorically wealthy. The families that we're serving live 3-4 families in 3-bedroom apartments right now. They've really taken the biggest hit and have not recovered since post-pandemic. Economically, like a lot of the middle class have been able to recover. And I really think that their struggle is our struggle, and that Bread and Roses offers more than food. We really try to take the whole person holistically into account, and we're really there to serve the community in the way that they see best, not the way that we see best.
Wow. Well said. Jessica, thank you very much. I am so glad that you came in and told us about Bread and Roses. So is there anything that, people can do listening? I know Jenny asked you that once before, but is there a way to get in hold of you guys?
Yes. So you can learn more about us on our website, breadandroseskitchen.org. And right now we're running our annual appeal. The theme of our annual appeal this year is It's More Than Food. And that sort of talks about all the other services that we offer to the surrounding community.
And it's such a time to do that. We're out there doing holiday shopping, all the things of gifting for everyone, but what portion of that can we do to give back? So it's a great time to be able to partake in that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Continued success. I'm
Thank
so
you,
glad you came to
Jessica.
chat with
Very
us.
inspiring.
Thank you.
This is Carrigan and Company.
New England's brightest holiday tradition returns. A Christmas Carol is celebrating its 35th anniversary at North Shore Music Theater from December 5th through December 22nd only. Tickets at nsmt.org.
Our friends at Sienna Aesthetic Spa in Beverly want to thank their loyal customers with a pre-holiday special. Get 50 units of Botox or any toxin and get 10 units free. And before you get those injections, how about a skin prep with a Hydrofacial Express for $150? That's a $199 value. Oh, and one more thing. The folks at Sienna will add a complimentary dermaplaning treatment to that facial. Get ready for the holidays. Set up your free consultation with the experts at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. Go to siennaaesthetics.com. This segment of Carrigan and Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. Well, it's that time of the show when we wrap things up. Jenny Johnson has been keeping me company. This has been so much fun.
Kim, so much fun to be with you.
We had 2 fabulous guests, which I loved. I got to tell you, I learned so much from Jessica from Bread and Roses. That was really fascinating. She is passionate about that. And, folks, check out their website and be sure, if you have time, if you can learn more about it, if you can volunteer, if you're up on the North Shore and you're somebody who can give, they certainly need it. No federal funding, no state funding. So they really rely on local businesses and individuals for their help. The name of the book, A Taste of Boston. Definitive cookbook of the city we love. I
It's
love
so
it,
fun.
right?
It's been
so
so
fun.
great. And in there, we also talk about some nonprofits that are in Boston because I think, especially this time of year, it is really important to think about all the things you're going to get for all the people that you love, but all of the things that you could do for those who are less fortunate. And so we have the Greater Boston Food Bank in there, Love and Spoonfuls in there, we have the Food Project in there. So great ways to connect with nonprofits in the city because the chefs, they're so philanthropic, Kim. They do
I
so
believe that.
much.
Right,
And so
absolutely.
you'll read about those stories in here too.
I love that the foreword was written by Mark Wahlberg.
It's fun. It's a great forward. You really learn stuff about he and his family. And his brother Paul has been a big friend of ours for a long time. Obviously, his recipes in there. And Billy's known Mark for decades. And so I've had the chance to know him too. So it was really fun to be able to get him on there.
Terrific. Tell everybody when they can see the TV shows.
Okay, so you can watch Dining Playbook, which is on 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings, 9 p.m. on Sunday nights. And then right after Dining Playbook is Meet Boston.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Continued
Oh,
success.
I love seeing you so much.
It was so great to see you. I'm so glad
Such
you
an
could take
honor.
some time because I know how busy you are, but we appreciate having you
So
here.
grateful. So grateful. Thank you so much,
All
Kim.
right. Hey, thanks to all of you for being here on Carrigan and Company. Be sure you follow us on social, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Carrigan and Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Carrigan and Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Carrigan and Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Peter Hurley, and our social media managers are Grace Carrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.